Well, we're looking at the organizer yet again. I'm pretty sure you understand how much I like this thing, right? I've talked about it a lot so far. In fact, I already posted a video on the unboxing of it way after I showed it because I forgot I even had that video. But anyway, this video is not just a reminder of how awesome this thing is, but the fact that I tried to make my own and it was a fail. Now you may look at it and say, oh, that's pretty good. Well, gee whiz, thanks for the pat on the back. I'm no seamstress. I don't do any leather work. It kind of looks like what that is. I kind of mimicked it a little bit, the design. I took some design cues. It's a pretty straightforward thing. However, it is a fail. On multiple levels for multiple reasons. You guys gave me awesome feedback, by the way. I posted on Instagram a couple pictures of me making this thing. And awesome feedback. Like I said, a lot of leather workers out there that just know what they're doing and gave me some valuable information. So in this video, we're going to go over what I did wrong. I mean, it is a pouch. It is a holder. It's kind of cool. I have the ThruNite T10 V2 flashlight in here, and I have a Kershaw Leek in there. Gray aluminum Leek, I think, with a black stonewash blade. And it carries them. It functions like this, but it's totally less convenient for a lot of reasons. So let's jump right into it. First off, I wanted to make something like this myself, not because I thought it was awesome and I can do it, but mostly because I wanted to salvage this leather from my grandfather's couch. Talked about that in the previous video as well as, you know, I did on Instagram. So I thought it was cool to do a couple different leather projects, and this is something I wanted to do. This happened all at the same time. Like, oh, this is awesome. I'll make one that was for my grandfather's chair, and it'll be amazing, and you know, it's functional and all stuff. Yeah, it came out okay. It's functional, but major problems with it. Number one, and I didn't know this, and this is why you learn. You know, we don't know stuff until we know it. I mean, that sounds like a pretty dumb statement, but it's true. You don't know anything until you figure it out. Someone told you, saw it somewhere, heard it somewhere. Furniture leather is very different than other types of leather. It's not just animal skin. There's a lot of different leather treated and processed differently for different purposes. This leather was not made for pouches. This leather was specifically processed to be on a chair, to be furniture. It's way more supple and soft. It's a thinner type leather. I mean, you can see how much this gives, all right, because that's what you want. You know, this was a cushion and it was an armrest and everything else. This leather is not. This is obviously the proper leather for this. I mean, if you don't know anything about leather, just looking at it quick, you feel, okay, it's a little bit thicker, but there's a lot of differences. All right, so number one, I didn't consider that fact that the upholstery leather is completely different. Another thing that someone pointed out to me, which is very interesting, is how they tan the leather. And the tanning solution they use for upholstery leather often contains, I think, salts and different things that will not be good to store your metal items in, because it can, you know, actually start rusting because of that. Especially if it gets moist or humid or anything, those salts and stuff inside can leach and, you know, just cause some rusting issues. So far, it hasn't. I'm actually going to store these two items in here for a while just to see. But, you know, it's just something to stay away from. You wouldn't want to do this on purpose. Like I said, this is a learning experience for me. So it's too soft. How it's tanned is not right for the purpose. Also, I measured this because I didn't have the elastic, so I knew I wasn't going to have a pen holder. I guess I could have bought elastic and added it, but that's a whole level of complication I didn't want to worry about. Basically, just measured this. And I did not realize when I was measuring it that I was measuring it with the stuff inside of it. And the stuff inside of it, you know, squishes the leather together. So the width, not so much the height, but the width was very different. So when I was done cutting the leather, it made smaller pockets. I actually wanted to make them the same size or slightly wider, and they ended up being a touch smaller. So I really limited myself with that. That's why I have a small flashlight and a slender knife in here. So I measured it wrong. I used the wrong leather. The stitching was actually, it's okay. It's not bad. It's actually a thicker stitching. Again, this is not meant for this. The stitching, the thread that I used for this would have been fine if I had the correct leather. It was actually the waxed thread that came with one of those sewing awls or whatever from the battle box I got a long time ago. I had one as an emergency kit item in case I needed to repair something fabric, and it worked beautifully for this project. I took an awl from a Swiss Army knife that I had and pre-punched the holes. I didn't really know about how far to set them apart. I don't have an exact measurement here. I'd say maybe an 1/8 inch. They're not perfectly, spaced anyway. I mean, there is certain tools. If you want to get into leatherworking, there's a lot to learn, and there's certain tools you can use to make it professional. But I just wanted to, whip together a project. It was fun. So the stitching was okay. It's not terrible or anything. It was actually really fun using that sewing awl or whatever it's called. So if you ever want to check that on YouTube, there's very helpful videos. That's what I did. I don't just make videos, I watch them too. When I don't know something, I try to learn through YouTube videos, and after the fact, I try to go to other websites as well. But anyway, so I did some things wrong here, which is okay. It's still functional, but again, I'm a little concerned now about the long-term rusting issues with this. Trying to think of anything else. Yeah, also the thread was a waxed natural thread, so it was kind of like an off-white to brownish color, like khaki. And obviously this black leather, so I wanted to color it. Now, duh, I should have, before I sewed it on the leather, I should have colored it any way I wanted to. But I didn't think of it till after the fact, and the contrast in colors was way too extreme for me. It didn't look good. So I went back with a Sharpie and tried to touch it up with a Sharpie, but I ended up, it's hard to tell because it's black, but there's extra permanent marker on there. And actually on the actual thread part, if I rub it really hard, it starts to come off just a little bit. So yeah, could be a lot worse. I think I did an okay job, but I learned a lot from this. A bunch of things. Everything I just mentioned, I don't have to repeat myself. I often do. But I'm catching that right now. I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. It was a very fun project. It was pretty relaxing to do. But I just wanted to kind of share this video because I know some people were saying that they can get into just making their own because it is kind of simple. Like I said, these are like $45, and because I don't regularly do leather work, it's worth $45 to me. And I might actually buy a different version or trade in the future again for another one of these, maybe bigger, smaller, who knows. I just love the idea so much. I absolutely love this concept. And if you can tell, I already put a little disposable lighter in here. Told you guys I want to get actually I got a lot of feedback from you guys as to different types of lighters that may fit. And I actually have one that someone recommended on Instagram, which I love. And if I end up buying that, you'll see that in the future. But for now, it fits one of these, cheapo disposable ones. I did try a regular size Bic. It's a little bit tighter. I like that it's easy to get in and out. It's not going to fall out or anything. But I don't want to have to struggle getting the tools in and out. So, yeah, pretty much it. Just wanted to share my noobish project. I mean, you might not think it's a fail, but to me it's a fail just because it's not something I could just carry and use every day. But it was a learning experience. And I don't know if I'll ever get more into leatherwork in the future. I've done leatherwork projects in the past. I made some coasters with Christina, and it was very fun. But I'm not going to, at least in the very near future, start investing in the proper tools. Because like with any hobby or any craft, you have to educate yourself, number one. Education is the most important. You have to know what to do properly. But just as important as knowing what to do is having the proper tools, right? Not MacGyvering everything. If you do it with the proper tools and you invest that money in those tools, and you get the proper materials and everything, you can have a very successful project. But if you start going, I don't have this, I'll just use this and I'll substitute that and I'll do it this way, you don't end up with the same, professionalism. And you might not think, oh, well, it doesn't have to be professional. No, it doesn't, but it should be functional. And unfortunately, this looks okay, but it's not as functional as I desire, I suppose. This is exactly what it's supposed to be. That's why I'll continue to carry this. By the way, still carrying it every day and I absolutely love it, and still using things. Used my flashlight yesterday, and today I used my lighter. I actually got a watch I'm not wearing right now because I just got home and I, de-dressed and everything. I have my neck knife on, but hanging around the house, I don't wear my watch. But I got a nice watch from a friend on Instagram, and the watch band's very used and frayed, and every now and again, while I was wearing it, the little like strings would hang off the edge, so I'm using a lighter to kind of burn those and melt them together so it's not going to like fall apart. But anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you are into leatherwork, and if you are, what kind of stuff do you make? Little gadgety things? Do you make big leather projects? It's just interesting. There are a couple of YouTubers that are in the gear community that have recommended other specific leatherwork channels. which I greatly appreciate. I've actually watched a few of them before. I don't subscribe, I don't believe, to anyone who does leather stuff specifically. There is a person, Ian something, that someone recommended that I was subscribed to for a long time. When I first did the first leather project, I subscribed and I watched some random stuff, and it's so fascinating. And I know you guys are gonna know who I'm talking about, but yeah, he does very, very nice stuff. But anyway, long story short, that's it. Tried it on my own, had a lot of fun, messed it up in a lot of ways, but it was a learning experience, which is cool. And I'm realizing now that I'm repeating myself. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna go, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.